It's all about you. It's all about you, baby.
Hi, Deborah Fielding here. Today we've got an interview with the very warm-hearted Lynn Wilson, who runs Marlow United Football Club for our young lads in our Marlow community. And if ever there was a case of dropping a pebble in and watching the ripples go out, it's got to be the way that Marlow United Football Club has grown. So let me hand over to Lynn and she can tell you all about it. And so, hi Lynn, welcome.
Thank you, great to be here.
Lynn, particularly keen to speak to you because you've done just such an astonishing job for the local community with Marlow United football, and I've, like you, had the privilege of watching those lads grow from little tiny things that you want to just scrunch their cheeks on to these strapping young men that they are now, which is breathtaking. But I'm really interested to know, how did your involvement with Marlow United start?
Well, yes, I took on the role of managing the team when a really great coach decided to retire. But my main involvement was through my son at age 4. I couldn't wait, having been a passionate football fan, player, supporter, everything from very young age. I couldn't wait to get him along to play in the local community kickabout. So age 4, there he was, with a bib down to his ankles.
Oh, and he was so gorgeous too.
Running about. I could not believe how happy I was so happy just to watch him. It was fantastic. Yeah. And I've always been involved in football. It's always been my passion.
Sadly a Leeds United fan, I believe.
Well, we're on the up, so I'm not counting on anything.
Really?
Just you wait till next season. But I've always been passionate about it, and I've always wanted to play. And I suppose from an early age, when I was 9, 10 years old, girls didn't play football.
No,
so not allowed.
No, they didn't.
Not allowed. I remember looking at my PE teacher going, I can play, and him looking at me going, you're not playing in this match. It's a boys' match. And I begged, and finally I managed to play, scored a couple of goals.
Well done.
And the lads, the rest of the boys were like, yeah, we've got to have her in. We've got to have her in. So that was nice. But it's always been a battle when I was younger. Always been a battle to play football. And of course, women's football, which is superb now. I mean, what England and the team are doing and everything is amazing. That was never there when I was young. Never. It was just seen as a bit of a joke, women's football. Yeah. And I could never understand why. So every time I've gone on to a new community, a new setup like a college or wherever, I've always tried to use football as a way of getting to know people and to
get involved in your community.
Yeah, to get people together. It doesn't matter what level. You know, we had a girls' team at the Polytechnic where I was at college, and we had such a laugh. You know, it was hilarious, and we just loved playing. And then we got quite good, and we started playing proper matches, and we still had a laugh. So I learned a lot from that. Yeah. We went as a family. I lived in France for 10 years, and one of the first things I was asking for, my husband asked if there was a women's football team where I could go and play. And the lady that was helping us with the move was just thinking, what have I got here? Yeah. But I found one.
Did you?
Yeah, found one, played, loved it, absolutely loved it. So I've always done that. And of course, you know, as soon as my kids could stand up, they were kicking a ball. So my son got involved and went along, and I couldn't stand on the sideline just chit-chatting to the mums and dads. Lovely though that was. Some of the boys were turning around at that age and picking worms up or eating the grass or worse.
Doing what 4-year-olds do,
yeah. And I couldn't help myself just picking them up and pointing them in the right direction, roughly, of the ball. Just say, go and follow that round thing. And so I got into it, and the guy that was running the community session supported me in getting my FA level 1. And then when he retired, he asked me to take it on, and I thought, oh well, I'm not going to see my family much on a Saturday, so let's just go for it, and absolutely enjoyed it.
Well, and all I see in that from knowing you and watching you on a Saturday, I mean, my first involvement with football from Marlow United always makes me laugh, because my son Oscar came along to play. Do you know what I'm going to say? And all the parents were stood on one side, and I came and stood with you.
That was lovely.
And I remember you saying to me, just next week, Deborah, and the parents are all stood over there, you might want to go and meet them. I said, oh, okay. I was like more enjoying the input from you and how you were directing them and the psychological side of the game. And
I remember you were kicking every ball with them as well. Just I was like,
totally
engaged in it.
It was so funny, but I was laughing with somebody about that recently.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I remember Oscar asking lots of questions, or you were asking me questions about what league were they in, how they pick teams, what the future held, and he must have been only about 10 or 11, something like that. Yeah. So I said, next training session afterwards, he can interview me, and he came up, and I remember holding the water bottle and speaking into it.
I remember that.
And he asked me some great questions, and it just we both had a laugh about it and made it really, really enjoyable. Yeah.
Oh, that's just fantastic. So you've been doing it. So I think this podcast, as you know, is about going from a great place. Often we can go through traumas in life, and my passion is to see people come out greater. And the one thing I witnessed with the lads on a Saturday, and for me, I'll be eternally grateful to you for what you've given my boy and what you've given the other lads on the pitch, because we've all got stories that we've shared and stood on the sideline talking to the parents. We've built up this enormous bond because we've all been through hardships. There's a big thing, as you know, for me this year has been cancer, and that's touched many people, and we share our stories. But I look at the lads, and silently they're listening to all these stories going on with their parents, and they've got other things going on that we may never know about. And getting on that pitch on a Saturday with their pals and doing something really productive and positive and winning, and that's everything. And I don't often think, well, certainly, I'm sure you do know, but I wonder that you know what you've given them, really. It's been a magnificent thing for Oscar to get out there and just run and kick that ball off and get some energy out and some worry out. Yeah.
I mean, support women's football and girls' football, etc. We talk about lads because it has been a group of lads. I think particularly for them in this kind of climate and this day of age, it's there's so many pressures out there, and so many difficulties and so many challenges to their confidence, that if we can create a safe space where they can just enjoy and I've had lads who have gone through some real troubled times, and some people have said to me, well, they're in trouble, are you going to not make them, you're not going to pick them for the team, or they're not going to do this or whatever. I said, no, do you want me checking up on who's done homework before they're put in the team? No, this is about football, and as long as they respect the coaches, respect the game, and each other, then football's a free pass. It's where they can express themselves. And I'm proud that's, and I'm really pleased, because coming into the Marlow community, I didn't know anyone. My kids didn't grow up here. I didn't have, they weren't born here. I didn't have the NCT group or any family at all. And from going along to that community football session, that was the start of my family. And they've always been there through ups and downs for me as well. I've always relied on the parents that were brought together. It's a real strength that we have.
It is a strength, and
which is great.
What I notice is when you're going through a real rough time, having that around you and that outlet for the boys and the outlet for you as an adult with the parents. Allows you to build a stepping stone from what potentially is a depressing, awful place to be, to make a leap into a greater space at the end of it. You can take everything you learnt before it everything you've learnt during it, which is usually enormous. I always think we only learn when we're going through tough times. We don't learn when we sit up on stage getting awards, really, as nice as they are. And then you can take that and be a greater person after it. But it's hard to do that if you haven't got that support unit around you.
I think you've got a good point there. It's about the regularity, especially for the boys, that they have, they know consistent place where they're going to go and where they're going to take a couple of hours off the stresses and the all of that that's swirling around them, and just focus on the game. I mean, I've always used sport like that because, I used to play golf, and I would go and play golf, and for 3 or 4 hours, nothing else mattered. I'd be doing the commentary in my head. I'd be doing, I'd be just playing, or tennis or football, whatever. That just allows you to switch off for a little bit.
It does, and we all need that.
And
you
support
need
that.
a space for your head to go.
Yeah.
And of course, doing the physical aspect of it is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I would just share this with you because it, oh my goodness, broke my heart at the time. Having gone through cancer and all the rest of it, I was on the pitch stood at the sidelines one day, and one of the lads, I mean, they're 15 and 16 now, grunting at you, hairy, sweaty,
Yeah. Where do those cute boys go?
Yeah, absolutely that. But I always chat to all of them, and they're such a lovely bunch. And so I turned around, and one of them was stood in front of me, and he just looked at me and said, "I'm so glad that you're starting to get better," because he'd seen me lose my hair.
Lovely.
And then threw his arms around me and wouldn't let me go.
Oh.
And my heart just flopped on the floor. I mean, that was an incredible thing for a 15-year-old lad to do that. I don't know that well. I just say well done every week to him. I was so touched. I think I'll remember that forever.
Yeah. That's fabulous.
It's powerful.
It is. And I think one of the important things is that you're transparent with people and you tell them how you feel.
Yeah.
And I've come across a lot of other clubs and teams where, coaches don't speak to players unless it's to say, you should have done that, or you should have done this, or whatever. My philosophy has always been, make that player feel 10 feet tall before they go on the pitch, because they're always going to do better if they're feeling good about themselves. Nobody likes being shouted at. Nobody likes being, told off or whatever. You can put over, things that you might want to try in a much more positive way than having a go at people. Yeah. And I try as much as possible to talk to the boys and actually tell them, this is why I'm making this decision. I'm substituting you. I think it's because this. What do you think? And it's not then a personal attack. It's more about how do we work together as a team. Yeah. You're still very much part of this. Maybe you just had, late night last night, or you're not feeling good today. Just take a breather, watch the game, tell me what you think. Because I think, I hate to see players sulking off and, throwing stuff and saying, I've been taken off and it's terrible and I was about to score a hat-trick. Yeah. Well, just be involved and be there for the group.
I think being real, because actually for lads that are on that pitch that are witnessing a rough time at home or whatever they're going through, one, the consistency, like you said, two, the running off the energy is a brilliant thing. But having a dose of reality and someone being straight and honest with you goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great that then you get that back when somebody comes up and hugs you.
Can you imagine
because
that?
they're being honest. They're being able to express their emotions, which is fabulous.
Oh, it is.
Especially for lads.
Yeah. So, last week, I went up to one of the oppositions. I mean, Oscar was dying when I did this, but this poor lad, he'd had a terrific match and let in 2 goals for us to win at the back end of the second half. And I went up to him because he looked so despondent, and he had absolutely had an amazing match. And I just went up and said, "Don't be despondent about that. You played really well." And his little face lit up, and I think, that's what Saturdays is about for me. Yeah. You don't need to be going on feeling more miserable than when you turned up.
Absolutely. We're all here. We may as well. You can either make it fabulous, or you can make it dour.
Yeah.
And I've been in so many places where we've turned up and you know, teams that have gone, oh, you know, yeah, it's raining and, oh, the change rooms are over there and it's kind of, yeah, well, I don't know if the referee will turn up. And, you know, you just kind of deflated.
Yeah.
If you go in there and say, right,
Off
we're here,
Yeah.
we're here, we're going to make it great, whatever happens, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that really gives everybody a chance to enjoy it. And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? You know?
Yeah.
Why do you have to make it miserable?
That's not what we're there for, is it?
Absolutely.
And it gives them an outlet, and it gives the parents an outlet. In fact, actually, when you set it off, I don't expect you really understood the enormity of what you were creating.
Well, it's certainly grown. I mean, it's certainly grown beyond with what we thought it would be to start with. But the fact that, you know, some of them have been there since 6 years old and they're now 16 and they're still... And one of the lovely things is that they may go on to... Quite a few of them are expressing an interest in coaching or running teams themselves, or, you know, going on to the next stage, and they feel empowered and they feel confident enough to do that.
And actually, I can share this with you. I know that some of the boys at school have been making choices about going on to sixth form and what have you. And I know certainly from Oscar's perspective and some of his friends, the mentoring of some of the younger pupils in the school is high on their agenda. And I find that really deeply moving that they're prepared to do that. And they've got the experience to do it.
Yeah,
you know, Oscar's also mentioned that some people can be going through a rough time at home that they may not be able to talk about. But he's got the experience to deal with that, to build that into their footballing as well. And I think, gosh, what wonderful thing that they're able to find those skills at this age.
At the end of the day, we're creating compassionate human beings.
We are, and the world really needs that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I just think, for me, Marlow United embodies everything that this podcast is about for me, which is pushing on into a really great space. And I certainly am grateful. I know everybody is to you, grateful to you for that, Lynn.
Well,
so.
I'm really grateful for the great experiences we've had together. We've had some fantastic times.
Yeah.
We've been on tour and we've
been times,
just really had a good time. So, and that's what it's about. I'm gonna miss it when I finally hang up my boots. But,
I'm sure. But I can't help but feel with the leadership skills and the mentoring skills you've got and the brilliant ability you have to coach, that's got to come flying out at some point in the future. I know you can't see it just yet, but it's written all over you, Lynn, and I can't see that being stuffed in a box for too long, to be honest.
Well, we'll see what the future brings.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been lovely
for the opportunity to chat. It's been lovely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to pick up on a few points that Lynn made while we were having that chat, and the first one being what an enormous family and community spirit Marlow United has created. Marlow itself as a town has a fantastic community spirit, but within that, Marlow United football teams have created their own enormous family and support unit, and that's invaluable, especially for our youngsters. Which brings me on to point 2. Giving our youngsters a respect and guidelines and boundaries to follow. And I certainly know as a parent of solo parenting two children that, I liken it to pulling the safety barrier down over you when you're on a roller coaster ride, because it is a bit of a roller coaster ride being a parent, especially solo parenting. And when you sit down with that barrier over your legs, the guard, as you set off, you always just give it a little bit of a test, a bit of a shake to see if it's in place. And I think that's what our children do with our parenting skills. And so giving our youngsters the guidelines and boundaries in a sporting arena is a vital part of their growing up. The third part for me is the switching off. It's just so important to give your mind a break. And I've really come to understand this year in particular that if you've not got a healthy mind, you won't have a healthy body because your body can't follow. And so it's really important you look after your mental state. And to have our lads out on the football pitch every week, just running some of that schoolwork off and the tension from GCSEs or whatever it is they're doing, has been such a massively important role in their development. And the final part, which I love about Marlow United, is the giving of love and positivity will always grow bigger results. And it's the only way through. Putting your kids down at every juncture in a team is not going to yield the results you're after. But when you're finding what they're good at and reinforcing that, and seeing them come together and bond together as a unit, that's where the juice of the whole team ethos is. And it's a lovely thing to see. So, go out there and encourage your kids to join a team and get involved in a different family to the one that you've created in your home. Hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did.
It's all about you.